In the spring of 2013, 3 men were murdered in the English countryside. Their bodies were dumped in ditches outside Peterborough. All 3 had been stabbed. All 3 had known their killer personally. And when police finally caught the woman responsible, she was not hiding. She was not afraid. She was driving around looking for more victims. Her name was Joanna Dennehy. She was 30 years old, and what she told investigators about why she killed would leave the entire country speechless. On February 28, 2014, the judge sentencing Joanna Dennehy at the Old Bailey called her cruel, calculating, selfish, and manipulative. He gave her a whole life order, meaning she will never be released. She will die in prison. When the sentence was read, Joanna Dennehy laughed. This is the full story of the Peterborough Ditch Murders, told in cold, unsparing detail. Joanna Dennehy was born in August 1982 in St. Albans, Hertfordshire. She did not grow up in poverty. She did not come from a broken home. Her family was stable, hardworking, and by all accounts, ordinary. Her father later described their home life as loving and unremarkable. There were no obvious warning signs, no childhood trauma that investigators could point to as a clear explanation for what she would eventually become. And yet, from early adolescence, something in Joanna Dennehy was moving in a very dark direction. By the time she was 15 years old, she had left home and moved in with a 21-year-old boyfriend. She had walked away from her family, her education, and whatever future had been waiting for her, and she never looked back. At 17, Joanna became pregnant. She was furious. She had not wanted children. When her daughter was born, she began drinking heavily, using drugs and self-harming. A second child followed in 2005. Her boyfriend, John Trainer, later said that Joanna had become a genuine threat to herself and to everyone around her. He took both children and left. He raised them alone. He later said his instincts told him to get them out, and that those instincts almost certainly saved their lives. Joanna was eventually diagnosed with a severe personality disorder, psychopathic and antisocial traits, and sadomasochistic tendencies. Psychiatrists who examined her described her as one of the most dangerous individuals they had ever assessed. But in early 2013, she was simply a woman living in a Peterborough bedsit, known to her neighbors, known to her landlord, known to the men around her. None of them truly knew what she was. By early 2013, Joanna had built a small world around herself in Peterborough. There was Gary Richards, known as Gary Stretch, a man standing 7 feet 3 inches tall who had become her closest associate and would later become her primary accomplice. There was her landlord, Kevin Lee, a married property developer with whom she was having an affair. There was John Chapman, a 56-year-old Falklands War veteran who lived in the same bedsit. And there was Lukasz Slaboszewski, a 31-year-old Polish national who had recently met Joanna and believed she was his girlfriend. He had told his friends he was excited about her. He had no idea she was already planning to kill him. March 19, 2013. Lukasz Slaboszewski was 31 years old. He had come to England from Poland looking for work and a better life. He had met Joanna recently and told his friends he had found a girlfriend. He was happy. He was looking forward. On that day, Joanna sent him a series of suggestive messages, luring him to a property in Orton Goldhay, a house owned by Kevin Lee. When Lukasz arrived, she blindfolded him. He thought it was a game. He trusted her completely. Joanna Dennehy stabbed Lukasz Slaboszewski once directly in the heart with a pocket knife. He died immediately. She stored his body in a wheelie bin at the back of the property. Later, and this detail stopped investigators cold when they learned of it, she showed his body to a teenage girl who lived nearby, casually, as though a human life were simply an object on display. 10 days passed. March 29, 2013. John Chapman was 56 years old. He was a veteran of the Falklands War, a man who had served his country through one of the most brutal conflicts of the 20th century and survived. He lived in the same bedsit as Joanna. He knew her. He was at home that night, having been drinking and using drugs. He was vulnerable. He believed he was safe. Joanna stabbed him multiple times. When it was over, she picked up her phone and called Gary Stretch. And what she said, the words she chose to announce that she had just ended a man's life, became one of the most chilling details of the entire case. She sang a Britney Spears song down the phone. "Oops, I did it again." Hours after killing John Chapman on the very same day, Joanna Dennehy committed her third murder. Kevin Lee was 48 years old, a married father of two, her landlord, her lover. He had told his wife about the affair, reportedly describing Joanna as a mix between Uma Thurman in Kill Bill and Sarah Connor from The Terminator. He had sensed something dangerous in her. He had not understood how dangerous. Kevin came to meet Joanna at the same property where she had killed Lukasz 10 days earlier. She stabbed him in the chest. He died at the scene. What happened next shocked even the most experienced investigators on the case. Joanna dressed Kevin Lee's body in a black sequin dress. She posed him in a sexual position. And then, with Gary Stretch, she dumped him in a ditch on a roadside in Newborough, where a member of the public found him on Easter Saturday morning. 3 men dead in 10 days, and Joanna Dennehy danced. A friend named Georgina Page testified in court that after seeing a news report about the murders on teletext, Joanna danced like a schoolgirl. She laughed. She smiled. She described what she had done as casually as someone describing a Sunday roast. She told Gary Stretch she was not finished. She wanted 9 victims in total. She wanted, she said, to be like Bonnie and Clyde. Gary Stretch and his associate Leslie Layton helped dump the remaining bodies, Lukasz and John, in ditches at Thorny Dyke near Peterborough. The 3 of them then got into a car and drove 140 miles away to Hereford. Joanna Dennehy was not running from what she had done. She was looking for more. On Easter Saturday morning, March 30th, 2013, a member of the public called Cambridgeshire police about a body in a ditch near Newborough. Officers arrived to find Kevin Lee posed exactly as Joanna had left him. 3 days later, on April 3rd, a farmer discovered 2 more bodies at Thorny Dyke. Lukasz, Slaboszewski, and John Chapman. 3 men, 3 ditches, all stabbed. Cambridgeshire police activated their major incident team immediately. They released photographs of 2 suspects to the public: Joanna Dennehy, described as 30 years old with a distinctive green tattoo beneath her right eye, and Gary Stretch, described as 47 years old and 7 feet 3 inches tall. The public were warned clearly: do not approach either individual. While police were searching Peterborough, Joanna was already in Hereford, and she was not done. On the streets of the town, she spotted a 64-year-old man named Robin Bereza walking his dog. She jumped out of the car and attacked him with a knife, stabbing him repeatedly in broad daylight. Robin Bereza survived. Minutes later, the group came across a 56-year-old man named John Rogers also walking his dog. Joanna attacked him too, stabbing him 40 times. John Rogers also survived, barely. When she was eventually arrested, police found she had stolen John Rogers' dog. She did not ask about either man she had stabbed. She asked whether the dog was all right. Police tracked Joanna Dennehy through CCTV footage. She had been captured on camera stopping at a service station to buy tobacco. Officers traced her to a green Vauxhall Astra parked in Newman Close in Newton Farm, Hereford. 2 plainclothes officers approached the vehicle. Joanna Dennehy and Gary Stretch were arrested without resistance. When officers searched her, they found a 9-centimeter pocket knife in her possession, caked in blood. The woman who had murdered 3 men and attempted to kill 2 more was in custody. The Peterborough Ditch Murders were over, but the full truth of what had driven Joanna Dennehy to kill was only just beginning to emerge. In November 2013, Joanna Dennehy pleaded guilty to all 3 murders and both attempted murders. She did not fight the charges. Her sister Maria was unsurprised. She later said she believed Joanna had pleaded guilty to control the situation rather than out of genuine remorse. Psychiatric reports confirmed she was of sound mind and fully aware of what she had done. She was diagnosed formally with a severe personality disorder with psychopathic and antisocial traits. One psychiatrist described her as sadomasochistic, a woman who derived genuine sexual and psychological pleasure from violence and domination. She had told investigators herself that she found murder moreish, that after the first killing, she had developed a taste for it. Those words, moreish, taste for it, were read aloud in court to a silent room. On February 28, 2014, Joanna Dennehy appeared at the Old Bailey for sentencing. Mr. Justice Spencer addressed her directly. He called her cruel, calculating, selfish, and manipulative. He said she was sadomasochistic and lacked the normal range of human emotions. He sentenced her to life imprisonment, with the additional order that she should never be released. A whole life tariff. The third woman in British legal history to receive such a sentence, after Myra Hindley and Rosemary West. Gary Stretch was found guilty of attempted murder and sentenced to 19 years. Leslie Layton was convicted of perverting the course of justice. As the sentence was read, Joanna Dennehy laughed. The families of Lukasz, Slaboszewski, John Chapman, and Kevin Lee sat in the public gallery and watched her laugh, and they had to live with that image for the rest of their lives. Country in the Falklands, he had survived a war. He died in a bedsit because he happened to live with the wrong person. Kevin Lee was 48 years old. He was a father of 2. He went to meet a woman he thought he knew. 3 men, 3 ordinary lives, 3 deaths that did not have to happen. Joanna Dennehy killed them because she wanted to, because she found it fun. Because, by her own words, she found murder moreish. There is no deeper explanation than that. And that absence of explanation is perhaps the most disturbing truth of this entire case. Joanna Dennehy remains in HMP Bronzefield. She will never be released. She will die in prison. The truth of what she did and why is now a permanent part of British criminal history. This has been Cold Truth Files. If this case stayed with you, subscribe so you never miss a case. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and share this with someone who needs to know this story. Every case has a truth. We find it.